Hi everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ungrownups video transmission. I'm your host Mark, and today we're going to be taking a look at the re-release version of the Takara Tomy MP-11 Masterpiece Starscream. I think this guy came out initially maybe more than a year ago. Maybe he came out in 2012. And it's kind of weird that he's MP-11 when he was actually, I believe, created and released before the MP-10, which was the new Optimus Prime. Either way, I think these guys were in production, Starscream and Optimus Prime were probably in production at Takara Tomy probably around the same time, because they do fall very close in scale to one another, if not perfectly. So I do believe that MP-10 is the new standard for scale. The new Optimus Prime is the new standard for scale for everything that Takara Tomy has released moving forward, and this guy is in no exception. So we know things get released out of order, but this happens to be the re-release version that does come with, as you can see, the cape, the crown, and the shoulder pads. So I did miss this figure first way around. I never even got the original version that came out from Walmart. It was a Walmart exclusive, I believe, when Hasbro released it here in the States, because that was several years ago. But this is the new model that's based on a Thundercracker mold that does have the new legs. Thundercracker? Yeah, the Thundercracker mold that has the new legs. So you don't have all that side kibble. The bottom of the vehicle looks completely different underneath the jet when it's in jet mode. And the colors are more cartoon accurate. So you've got more of a gray tone and less of a white tone in the version that was released in Walmart from Hasbro. You can see nice silver logo on the side. Looks very cool. And spinning around here on the back, you can see they actually have like an actual size version of the figure here, which was cool. I think they did the same thing with Soundwave because it was in the exact same box. You can see that the cape does flare out. You have a smaller version and a larger version. Sorry about that, it's my phone. And you can see the various different points from the head sculpt all the way down to the chest missiles, to showing you details about the cockpit and the nose. Shows you everything it comes with, and a nice version of the figure there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this guy cracked open and take out everything and take a closer look at the MP-11 Starscream. Okay, so here's everything opened up out of the package, and one thing you'll notice right off the bat is that MP-11 does not come with the standard Seeker Jet base. I think this is a really big disappointment for myself, but I think it's probably because he does come with the cape and the King Starscream accessories that they probably, to sort of keep the price in the same price range, decided to take the base out. I'm actually watching a couple bases on eBay right now, so I'm probably going to pick up one just to have it, because I think the base is really cool when it's both in jet mode and when it's in robot mode. It helps keep it levitated up off the ground. I think it looks pretty cool, but you will notice that it does not come with that. The other thing that it happens to be missing as well is the missile pods. So you'll see that it does have his blasters. He does, of course, come with those. That's iconic. You can't take those away. But the missile pods that fit underneath the wings, those are missing as well. If you go back and check my Thundercracker review, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. So that's a little disappointing that he doesn't come with those things. I could really care less about all of this King Starscream stuff. As a matter of fact, it actually, he stands on my shelf like this, and all this stuff stays in the box in the garage. So I don't actually even use this stuff, but we will take a look at it for the purpose of this review, because we want to be thorough. But you will see, here's Starscream, and he looks fantastic. I missed out on the Walmart exclusive version of Skywarp, so I never had him, but I did get the Toys R Us exclusive version of Thundercracker, and there's a review for that. I'll put a link down in the About section below. You can check that out if you want. But I did actually sell my Thundercracker to help me sort of pay for this guy. Thundercracker, I think I ended up selling for about 80 bucks on eBay, which was not bad. That's exactly what I paid for him, and I had him for almost a year. And this guy is retailing for $199 on BigBadToyStore.com. But 200 bucks is a lot to pay for a Masterpiece figure. But when it's an iconic figure that I really don't feel like I could have my collection could be without, and the fact that he goes for about $300, $400, $500 on eBay, yeah, the $199 was not a bad deal for me to pay for that. Anyway, before we get started for the review, let's get these accessories out of the way, and I want to show you how he stacks up with the other larger format figures in the Masterpiece line. So, staying, of course, with some Decepticons, we'll bring in the, is it MP... 12 or 13. I can't remember. Oh, I feel so bad. I can't remember his number, but here is the Masterpiece Soundwave, and this is the Takara version. This is not the US Hasbro version. So you can see that he's completely in line. Soundwave is a little taller than Starscream, and I think that's appropriate. I think that's how it ought to be. So we just need a new in-scale Megatron Takara Tomy. Not sure what you're waiting on. And to show you the sort of like the now standard unit of comparison would be the Optimus Prime. This is the MP-10. This is the Hasbro version that was released in the States at Toys R Us. And that would have been Thanksgiving of 2012. That's when I picked this guy up. So he is now the new base unit of measure for Takara Tomy and Masterpiece figures. So you can see he is considerably larger than Starscream. And I think that that's accurate as well. So let's get this guy moved out of the way. And we'll bring Starscream front and center. And we'll show you sort of like what he looks like with all the crown equipment on before we take a closer look at the figure itself. And then we'll move along to the jet mode. Okay, so I don't have all the pieces on because I wanted to go over how some of them connect. Basically, the shoulder pads have like a little tab in them right here, a little gray tab, and there's a little slot on the top of the shoulder, and you basically just sit that down and make sure that you just tab that slot, put the tab right into the slot, and it stays pretty well. The crown is sort of made to sort of fit right on top of the head, so it fits very snugly, and once on, you can see that it fits in there really good and snug. I mean, it doesn't click into place or anything, but sorry, there's a hair on it. So, but it does sort of press in the sides a little bit, and it fits on very nicely. Spinning this guy around, you can see that the cape is on a little joint here, assembly, that fits down over the back of the plate that covers up the nose cone, or that covers up his spine. This is the plate that would go over his back. And you can see that it is a hard shell plastic, but the cape is designed in a way to sort of unfold one way and rock one way and then rock back into place. So you can extend the cape out and have it much wider. So you can have him having a more flared out cape, or you can sort of compress it. I think I'm trying to fold it the wrong direction. Or you can compress it back into a thinner cape. So that's kind of nice, but it's with all of the jet kibble that hangs off the back of his legs and everything, I just find it to be very cumbersome. And I also don't have a lot of space in my cabinet for a big old cape like this. So I actually prefer to go sans cape, sans shoulder pads, and just get rid of that helmet altogether. And you can just lift this right off the back. Of course, I say you just lift it off and it's going to be quite an ordeal. But that just pops right off the back of that plate, and that's the plate that it's on. And without that, you've got good old-fashioned Starscream. So let's zoom in and take a closer look at some of the detail on this guy. Okay, so we're going to go handheld here so that we can get in and just kind of move around all over the figure and look at some of the finer details of it. I would say, you know, we are now moving into the second iteration of the Seeker Jet mold. You can see that this is the newer generation that doesn't have all of the plain kibble hanging off the hips like long samurai sword scabbards. So that's sort of over and done with, which is a very nice change. I'm glad that we've moved into this nicer mold. I like that we also have the fatter head, because the vents on the other version were like that to sort of make clearance, but now they've spring-loaded them. So I really, really dig that. I love these, the chest missiles can still open up. I always remember these from the cartoons. I love the Autobots and Decepticons having hidden missile compartments. And I got to tell you, I giggled like a little girl in Pacific Rim when one of the Jaegers busted out chest missiles. I was like, yes, this is what Transformers needs. But I will say that one of my biggest problems with this mold is the fact that this whole upper assembly still doesn't lock down very well. You can see that it's still very loose and still suffers from that whole disconnected problem. There's nothing that really locks that thing down or locks it into place, so that's a shame. Moving down here, you can see he does have all of his fingers are individually articulated, which is very nice. They're all plastic, not a metal. So, but they're very stiff, and the joints are all very stiff, and they stay. Unlike a Soundwave, who had very loose fingers and would pop off quite often. You can leave the pilot in the cockpit. I believe my pilot's actually is in there. So I don't know if you can actually see him, but if we lift this up. You can't rotate that down while he's in robot form, but he is in there. There's a little clear, translucent blue pilot. And then moving down, you have the newly developed legs that do have, spin this guy around here on the back. That's like Thundercracker, so the figure does have heels. That makes him a little easier to stand. And all of the kibble here is on the back and not up on the hips. And that right there, that part of the wing was what would hang down on the hips. So they've changed the transformation on this newer mold, which is really nice. I still think there's a lot of kibble, these things here hanging on the back. I wish there was a better way to deal with that, but it is what it is. So why don't we get this guy into a couple of poses before we get him into jet mode and take a look at that. Okay, I really love that pose from the front of the box. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. He's sort of wide-legged, sort of standing out. He's puffing his chest up. He's leaned back. His left hand is cocked back in a fist, ready to wham a Decepticon who's not going to listen to his orders. And he's really doling out some orders with that right hand. He's pointing. He's giving a very commanding point to somebody, telling them to get somewhere and do something. I really love that pose. Of course, the pose on the front of the box uses the King Starscream equipment when it does that. But I love that pose, so that was definitely a pose I wanted to show off here. Just because of all the kibble and all the stuff that's kind of around in the way that he really doesn't lock down, it really is hard to kind of pose this guy and get him into some fantastic poses. But he really looks good when you do. When you can pull off some poses, he looks pretty fantastic. All right, so here we have Starscream transformed into his Secret Jet mode. And you can see by using the mirror on the base that there's not a lot of robot kibble kind of hanging out underneath the jet mode. It's not as rounded or compact as the first mode. I think a lot of people have commented on preferring to have that version better, but I actually really like this. I love the colors. I love the huge Decepticon logos there on the top of the wings. They're also underneath. I love the huge Decepticon logo right there on the front as well. And all in all, I just think this jet looks absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough about this guy. I really, really dig him. Love the old school colors, and he's just a pretty fantastic jet mode. So why don't we zoom in and take a closer look at some of the features that the jet mode offers. Okay, so here we sort of have like an exploded view of all of the features that the Secret Jet mode offers. Starting back here with the thrusters, the thrusters are movable and they are positional, like fighter jets would be, so those can move around, so that's nice. You also have the landing gears trying to collapse on me. You can also, via nature of the transformation, you can lift up the engine parts, and you can see parts of the engine right here. Those are actually the heels of the foot whenever he transforms into robot mode. Spinning him around here, you can see you have the air brake right here on top with a metal piston, which is very nice, die-cast metal piston. Die-cast parts are always fantastic. Throws us right back to being a kid again. You can see what I was talking about about not having the missile pods. They're not on there. Those are missing. You can see via the reflection, nice big Decepticon logo underneath the wing as well as above it, which is very nice. See, we've got the open cockpit, and there is our pilot right there. See if I can zoom in on that a little bit better for you. And nice big Decepticon logo right there in the front, and you can see that it also has the radar assembly underneath the nose cone. So another nice touch there. And underneath, you can see you do have landing gear in the front and landing gear in the back as well. So just all over a super, super nice jet mode, and one that rivals its robot form. I know a lot of people who will want to display this figure in jet mode just as much as they would robot mode. So, all right, that's probably going to about do it for this review. You know, like I said, I mean, well, specifically my collection could not be complete without a Starscream. I think he is a quintessential bad guy from the classic toy line and TV series. And for me personally, Soundwave is my favorite. And since we don't have a decent Megatron, I really couldn't have a Masterpiece collection without a Starscream. So that's going to about do it for this review. As always, we're going to ask if you dug it. Please like, comment, or subscribe. And be sure to check out all of the brand new toy reviews right here on youtube.com/Ungrownups. So until next time, peace.